Hi there.
Hi Mimi, have you heard my voice today?
Sounds like you had a rough night last night.
I'm actually fine. It's just when you get sick and then you're starting to recover and like you sound awful. So I feel fine, but the whole day everyone's been coming up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, we're so sorry. You seem so sick."
So it's not the after effect of like a whole lot of good times at the pavilion last night?
It was we did have that was fun. We had so much fun. We were both at the American Pavilion. We met some really cool people. My favorite was we met a lot of cool French people and people from McCall. It was a very French night at the American Pavilion for me. Yeah, exactly.
It felt like I was in like a little American embassy, which is what I thought it would be, and there were a lot of Americans.
Yeah.
And then once in a while, I'd be approached by a French person, and I'm like, "Oh hi, we are in France." Duh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're in France. My other favorite thing about the American Pavilion is I had dinner or like a breakfast there the other day.
Yeah.
And it's very American. It's like they knew that they should have like it's like very traditional. We have like quesadillas, like barbecue chicken
burgers there for the first
burgers.
time in like a while.
We have like barbecue chicken quesadillas. So that was my favorite part. I was like, I guess we're gonna have to be at the American Pavilion. Then we're gonna eat some American food.
I love that quesadillas are Mexican, but Americans claim it.
Well, it's not even, but like it's not a proper quesadilla where it's like, oh,
it's the American version.
It's barbecue
of
chicken quesadilla, which is like I really loved. I thought it was really good, but like it's not Mexican food. It's like an Americanized version. Yeah. That was good.
Point being, we had a great time last night.
It was real fun. It was free drinks. We got to meet a lot of.
Why Kelly sounds like she's dying.
No, it's not that actually. I think it's I as the French do. I have the occasional cigarette, and that's kind of why my voice is like, oh no, it's going downhill. But maybe I'll take a ban for tonight and just say no more. I've stopped. I'll quit. I'm sure my mother would be very happy if she heard that.
I'm sure she would.
All right.
Well, welcome to the world of 72 Dragons once again.
Of course, welcome to the world of 72 Dragons.
That's Kelly.
And this is Mimi.
And we're very happy to have you.
All right, so let's get the show started.
So, yesterday I got to go to the Rafiki screening. I told you guys all about how excited I was to do that yesterday.
Right.
All right, so just to recap, it is a Kenyan movie, and it's actually the first movie that Kenya has presented at Cannes. So that's just very groundbreaking for the Kenyan film community, and I'm very proud to be from that part of the world. But I got to see the screening. It's about these two daughters of two politicians in Kenya who happen to be in love with each other. And in case you're not familiar, Kenya is still very conservative in its views towards LGBTQ issues. So as I told you guys yesterday, it's already been banned, but I got to see it, and it was so good. And just when the movie was over, like we all rose and probably clapped for like 20 minutes straight. Like, I'm not even kidding. And so we had like the director came out and with the two main actresses, and it was just such a magical moment.
Let's start from the beginning though.
Okay.
I was with you at one point in the night. We have been at the American Pavilion, and I'll tell you from my point of view, this is what happened to me. I was on the phone, I was talking with someone, and all of a sudden, I see Mimi, and she's running off. I'm like, wait, what? Where did Mimi go? And you had actually met a friend, right?
Yeah, so I made some very good connections at the American Pavilion. And this group of girls and I were like, yo, we should like go see Rafiki. And I was aware of a screening, because I looked through the different screenings that Rafiki would be having. And I did not see one for like yesterday, 10 o'clock. But someone was like, hey, no, they have a screening tonight. We should go. And I was like, sure, if there's one, yeah, let's do it. Which is why you saw me sprint off. I was like, I've got to go see this.
And you made it. So when you made it.
I made it, yeah.
Line. Oh, that's wonderful, because you don't always know. You took a
rest.
Right,
yeah. And so I got on. And especially, you know how they have the selfie ban this year.
Yeah.
Which no one's following, which I find absolutely hilarious. But the girl that I met, so I walked up the stairs into the theater, and she tried to take like just a couple pictures of me to like document the occasion. But like security was like ready to pounce.
Really?
Yeah. She was like basically running action shots of me running into the theater. But it was really cool. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the film. You know, you said it's about two politicians' daughter. Tell us some of like the themes and content. What are your favorite parts of it?
I don't know. I sort of like don't want to spoil it for people, you know? Okay, well, you'll get all of this from the trailer. But it's basically everything that I've said. There's these two girls that fall in love with each other.
So what is it? Can you tell us, without spoilers, can you tell us like some of your favorite moments? Did you think it was particularly good, like camera techniques, good editing, good soundtrack, good writing?
It was really interesting being able to compare the two film cultures that I'm familiar with. So East African film production and American film production. And it was really interesting how quick they were to they would just cut to the chase. As opposed to American films will be able to give a lot of subtle clues, but prolong the moment where you realize and you get to see how they develop their love for each other. Sort of maybe 10 minutes into the film, you could
they're in love.
Yeah, and it's
10 minutes, they're in love.
That's very interesting. But the editing was superb. The composition shots, just the costume, just everything was really, really great. And I'm very proud of Kenya for that.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad it went well. Did you get to hear anything from the director and the two actresses, or did they just come and say hi?
So once the movie ended, I had a balcony seat, so I was looking down on them. They were all dressed in white. They were so gorgeous.
Oh, wonderful.
But they just talked about what a journey it was to make the film and how proud they are to have been able to accomplish it, and just how much they wish that Kenyans would be able to see it too, since it is banned in Kenya.
Yeah, so that was one of the things what were their thoughts on the fact that it is banned in Kenya, the place where it's kind of made from and for. Yeah. Well, what are their thoughts on that?
So once you see the film, and I don't want to give spoilers about how it ends, but the film ends with you just feeling like this is such a beautiful love story. And because of that, once she started speaking, she said, this is just love. It's not something that anyone should be arrested over. We're nearly verbatim her words. And so it's just really cool to see how embraced Kenya was in that moment, and how everyone in the room was clapping for 10 minutes or 20 minutes straight. It was great.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that's great. I'm sure this will not be the last we hear of your screams, but I'm glad that you kicked off with a bang.
I'm probably going to see Rafiki a second time.
There you go. But you definitely kicked off with a bang, so that's good.
Yes. My favorite part of Cannes so far. It's only been 3 days. And we're back with Kelly. Hey, Kelly, tell us, what do you want to talk to us about today?
Well, I want to give you a recap of what I've been learning. Kind of, as I said, I'm on a journey to find the nerdy stuff. So I'll just recap with you some interesting stuff I learned. So the American film industry, as we know it, is not government run. And if you think back to way, way back in your history classes, at a certain point in the early 1920s, I believe, there was a push for the government to regulate film industry, and the film industry, because of ratings, and there was a lot of scandalous stuff. The film industry is no. We'll regulate ourselves. And that's all we know, really, in America. And it's kind of assumed, really, that's how every film industry does it. But that's really not the case. Some of the best examples of that is France. Because France is very big in supporting its film industry, but it's very much through their government. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that, we struggle with is, government is a bureaucracy at the end of the day. And so it is sometimes a bit hard to find the correct data. But I had a wonderful conversation with two people who have a production company in Paris, and they talked to me, and I got to get them to know a little bit, and they gave me some really useful links and help and access to researching, in France. And so the real thing I took away from it was, Cannes is a great place to network, but also it's a great place to find information because, you have the UK, which has all their things on one page, and we have it on one page, but sometimes it's buried a little deep in there. Yeah. So I think by going to pavilions and by going to meeting people, you can really get that information. So that was something I learned. And then just talking more about history, we talked a lot about Eastern Europe, but another thing is talking about Southeast Asia. Kind of the Southeast Asian film industry, which is once again, I would say even more developed and up and coming than a lot of places in Eastern Europe because they have real specific niche markets, and they're quite popular as well. I think it's just not only is the Southeast Asia, not only is it they have like kind of like overall genres and things, but each individual company, like Singapore has like specific things that they have a market that's niche in Singapore, and they're starting to really produce more bigger budget films and higher budget films by their own creative directors. So you always have films, and this happens in China, this happens everywhere in the world, where films will shoot there, but they'll be like an action film. So like big action blockbusters may shoot in Beijing, they may shoot in Southeast Asia, but at the end of the day, it's an American production, really. They're
really
just
cool.
shooting there. It's really nice to see that some of these Southeast Asian countries are really starting to be able to, because of their film industries getting bigger, they're able to actually produce higher budgets. So we're talking like $3 million to $4 million, and that's like for people who are actually like Southeast Asian like directors and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff is becoming in-house.
Sounds like you've been learning a lot. No, yeah, that's cool.
For every